Blessings, good morning, happy Thanksgiving. We recorded this message in my office at home because we were going to have some of our tech people away celebrating their own Thanksgiving this week. So we wanted to make sure we still got this third message in the Thanksgiving series at New Hope Community Church out to you. We've been talking a lot about thinking through Thanksgiving in a different way. And as I began to think about it, I actually changed that title to something like Thinking Through It. We come to this third message today, and I'm excited about it. It's helped me as I've approached Thanksgiving. I hope it helps you also. I want to begin with a quiz. Just out of curiosity, think for yourself, which of the following statements have you ever made, ever used? Which of these are you guilty of? Have you ever said that because I said so? Just said it for that reason. And you're kind of stern, you're rebuking a child, a grandchild, whoever it might be. Maybe you've said that. I'm curious. Maybe you've said this to someone: don't talk back to me. Don't talk back. We're bothered by perhaps the attitude or something that a child or a person or sometimes even a customer service person might be sharing with us, and we're struggling with it. Many of us will remember this one from perhaps our parents or grandparents. They've said it to us when we were young. How many times do I have to tell you? That attitude that comes out when we're struggling with what we're being told. And we ask the question, why, over and over. And eventually, perhaps that parent or grandparent or you have said something that sounded like this: well, you'll understand when you're older. We all fall guilty to those things. And this is one that I know that I got told to me, and unfortunately, I've probably told to my kids also. It's this one: don't give me that attitude. And we're responding to that attitude that we perceive someone sharing with us. And because of that, in our society, just the idea of attitude has become very negative. But attitude is actually something that's neither positive nor negative. It could be either. An attitude simply is describing an individual's state of mind with respect to a situation or respect to a person or a thing. Again, they can be positive or negative. For instance, uh, here's a whole bunch of A word attitudes: agreeable, approachable, active, ambitious, animated, attentive, amendable, accepting. Those are all very positive attitudes. But here's some A attitudes that are negative: averse, apathetic, aloof, anxious. You see, attitudes are very situational, and a person, any person, can adopt a completely different attitude based on small changes in the context in which they find themselves. Unlike emotions or moods, attitudes are intentionally adopted. So, as I was thinking through Thanksgiving this year, I really wanted to encourage us, instead of just thinking about it, to be thanking our way through the holiday. I thought, wow, we really need to be intentionally showing this attitude of Thanksgiving. And if it's true, it's an attitude, then I can always intentionally adopt it. Francis Schaeffer, who was one of the 20th century's top evangelical theologians, Francis Schaeffer once said this: the beginning of man's rebellion against God was and is the lack of a thankful heart. I want to go this morning to Psalm 100. And in 5 verses, we will see a how-to manual, a tested recipe, a instructional sequence for making Thanksgiving happen. So if you have a Bible, I'd encourage you to get it out. I'll be reading passages, but you might want to follow along because these 5 verses really help us understand a pattern for the attitude of Thanksgiving. Psalm 100, it starts this way: shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs. Know that the Lord is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving, his courts with praise. Give thanks to him, praise his name. For the Lord is good, and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. Now, in the version of the Bible that I was reading from, it includes a subtitle to Psalm 100. It simply says, Psalm 100, a psalm for giving grateful praise. It's an instructional manual for us, and I think it will help us understand how we can develop, show, intentionally adopt the attitude of thanksgiving. He begins, the writer of this psalm, with answering the question, how? Let me read verses 1 and 2 again. It says this, shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs. I find it interesting when he starts this instruction about developing the attitude of thanksgiving, about praising God, thanking our God. He begins with 3 present commands that we are to express gratitude to the Lord in an audible and a public manner. Shout for joy. Worship the Lord. Come before him with joyful songs. All of these are outward, audible, public expressions of a heart of gratitude that we are to be using and expressing before our God. I think of having gone to some professional basketball games or college football games or professional, and you see those cheerleaders come out. They've got that sign, they're jumping up and down, make some noise, and the whole stadium starts to cheer and they run, they shout, they make a whole bunch of noise because they want their team to do better. In essence, the writer of this psalm is basically saying, make some noise, shout, worship, sing, make some worship noise throughout this Thanksgiving season. That's how we're supposed to express this attitude of gratitude. He then goes on and he addresses the why. He gives a foundation to the how. The why. In verse 3, he says this, know that the Lord is God. It's he who made us. We are his. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. I think that's really profound. It's really deep. You see, it's the psalmist's summary on why God is worthy of praise. And he begins with just this statement, because the Lord is God, period. It's who he is. Just because of who he is and everything we know about him, he is worthy of thanksgiving and praise. He's worthy of it. But he then goes on in the second half of that verse. He says this great God that exists, he's the one who made us. Not only that, we are now his. We are his people. Everything that stood between us and him, he eliminated. We are invited into fellowship with him through the work that Jesus did at the cross. We then are his people. And then he goes on and he says this, and we are the sheep of his pasture. Now, as I understand sheep, they do the best when they have a shepherd. Why? Because sheep need to be guided, need to be cared for, need to make sure that they are protected. And our God says this, we are the sheep of his pasture. We are the object of his provision and protection. So why should we be praising God? Why should we be making noise in this public way? Because we understand that the Lord is God. It's he who made us. We are his. We're his people. We're the sheep of his pasture. It's that simple. Because of who he is, because of what he's done, I need to give my God thanks and praise. So in my life, one of the things that I'm doing to try to help that through this holiday season is I'm making an ongoing list of who I am because of what God has done. And I want to review it often in my mind because I think it takes me back to that place time and time again where I can't help but simply give him thanks and praise. So the writer of this psalm is challenging us. He's challenging us first to, make some noise through this holiday season. He's challenging us with the wise because we are remembering what our God has done for us and what he's like. And then he takes us to a third spot. He's going to help us understand the when. When are we supposed to be doing this? And in verse 4, it says this, Enter his gates with thanksgiving, his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name. It is a present tense command. It is a perpetual expectation. When are we supposed to be giving him this public thanks? When are we supposed to be making noise about how great he is and how wonderful it is to be in a relationship with him? When are we giving thanks, praising his name? When? All the time. Present tense command, perpetual expectation. Do it all the time. There's a comedian, uh, Larry the Cable Guy. Whatever you think of him, I know he's got, a watch phrase. He's got a phrase that he's totally known by, that "get her done." Well, in essence, it's what the psalmist is saying. When it comes to giving thanks, when should we be doing it? Well, get it done. It should be immediate and intentional. Immediate and intentional giving him praise. Anytime we are remembering who he is and what he's done. That passage needs to be our challenge to maybe develop a daily ritual this holiday season. That every single day we are thinking about the goodness of our God and we're allowing it to be expressed in very public ways to others. We are thanking and praising him publicly. It's what we're called to do. I'm Pastor Bruce Rzengota. I'm privileged to pastor New Hope Community Church. We meet on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Getting ready to start a new sermon series. Been thinking about this one a lot also. It's entitled, What If? This Christmas series is going to deal with questions like, so what if we were actually there and living it then? What if? What if we knew this was our last Christmas? What if Hollywood had written a story? What if, well, what if? And we'll continue that thought process as we move forward and ahead throughout the Christmas season. And if you're not tied into a local church somewhere, we invite you to come join one of our congregations. New Hope meets on Sunday at 9 a.m. Word of Life, our affiliated Presbyterian congregation, meets at 11. Nueva Esperanza, our Hispanic congregation, meets at 1:30 in the afternoon. We'd love to have you at any one of our services. Might you be blessed considering joining us. We hope you're off to a great start to your holiday season. We pray that we can be a part of it. Blessings on you.